we're starting live. Oops, here we go. Hi folks, it's Brian, Director of Music here at Coraopolis United Methodist Church. We're going to be going live with Dr. Doug Starr here in just a few moments. You will notice we are socially distanced. I'm sitting here in a fun little space of the choir loft that probably not too many people, get to see. This fun little nook back here. So here's our choir loft. For those of you who maybe have never got to see this space before, you should consider joining choir. Also, if you see the red button that says live, that tells you that you are indeed watching the live broadcast. So please like and share that. I'm going to just share this to my feed. And Doug, if you want to share to your Facebook feed, you can go out to the Facebook page or copy mine. That way we get millions and millions of viewers. And I'll be sharing. That should be shared. And Doug, if you go out to my timeline, you will see the link to share, and we can get that moving.
Yeah.
All right, folks, so once again, thank you so much, for joining us. I'm getting used to some new hardware here that we are filming with today. My name is Brian Sable, Director of Music here at Coraopolis United Methodist Church, and it is a great joy to have a dear friend and colleague, Dr. Doug Starr, joining us. Doug, you are currently serving at St. Paul's Mount Lebanon Episcopal Church, St. Paul's Episcopal, in Mount Lebanon. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about what you do there?
I'm the Director of Music and Arts, that's my title, and I run the music program, and we have a concert series that I'm also supervising. But I have lots of help. I got a wonderful assistant, Kristen Cooper, and wonderful choristers and 2 choral scholars. So I'm looking forward when we can all get back together again and make music with one another.
Isn't that the truth? You are sharing with us today a program of Johann Sebastian Bach's music. What will you be playing first for us today, Doug?
Well, as many of you know, Pope Francis asked for prayer today. The entire ecumenical Christian community has gathered in prayer at about this time to say the Lord's Prayer. So I'm going to play 2 settings of the Lord's Prayer by Johann Sebastian Bach. And Albert Schweitzer, who's one of my favorite Bach scholars and also takes a very deep theological perspective of Bach's works, says this: both of these pieces are a motet without words, in which the soul sends to heaven the prayer of prayers.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Doug. If you are just tuning in with us today, I'm Brian Sable, Director of Music here at Coraopolis United Methodist Church, and we are very happy to welcome Dr. Douglas Starr with us today. Doug, we have known each other for quite some time. Why don't you tell our folks that are tuned in watching a little bit about your musical upbringing in the church, if you don't mind?
Sure. My father was a pastor of a church, an evangelical church in the Shenandoah Valley, and we were there for 16 years. I was raised in Stanton, Virginia. Then he took a teaching job at one of the church's seminaries in Ohio, and I finished up my schooling there. And it was there I was introduced to music kind of outside the box of my gospel music tradition, which, by the way, is just fantastic. I was introduced to some wonderful music in the local Episcopal parish at St. Paul's Episcopal in Mount Vernon, Ohio. I went on to college at Ohio State, got all my degrees there, and have had sort of a dualistic career. Up until the year 2000, I was full-time college teaching administration, part-time church work, and now it's flip-flopped. I'm full-time church work, and I teach part-time at Penn State, New Kensington, and Beaver campuses.
Fantastic. And Doug, while you were at Ohio State, correct me if I'm wrong, you got to meet John Ness Beck?
John Ness Beck, yes. He published my very first work of music, a wonderful man. He was an iconic figure at Ohio State because he was once a student there. And with a friend of his, John Tagenhorst, they established the biggest music store in Columbus, which I believe is still there. And then they established a joint project, a publication company, Beckenhorst.
And choir members that are tuned in and watching, I see several of you watching today. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit share, but you will recognize that name, Beckenhorst Press, as we do so many works featured by Craig Courtney and Dan Forrest. And Doug, we've not done any of your works. Maybe we should do your I Want to Walk as a Child of the Light sometime.
Yes, that would be GIA Publications.
Oh, that's GIA. Sorry, pardon.
The one that I have with Beckenhorst is my very first one. It's Savior Like a Shepherd Lead Us.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, Doug, what will you be bringing us next?
Well, I'm going to play two versions by Johann Sebastian Bach of the earliest hymn in Christendom, of the Gloria in Excelsis. Glory be to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men. Albert Schweitzer says this about the two settings I'm going to play for you. It sort of pictorial depicts the flapping of angels' wings, the undulating movement of the angels. It's ever present in both settings I'm playing. The singing of the angels floating on the clouds. So you'll hear a lot of ornaments that are sort of depicting the fluttering of wings.
Fantastic. Brilliant, Doug. What a wonderful comparison of two different pieces, both using the same hymn tune. What do you think about when you realize that Bach was able to sit down at the console and come up with these, quite frankly, improvised on the spot?
Right. That was the compositional process of Bach. He would improvise out what he wanted to and must have retained it explicitly to be able to go back and notate in musical notation what he had improvised, what he remembered. It shows a musical intellect and a musical mind that was able to just capture a sound and retain it and be able to develop it and manipulate it. It's amazing. I know that improvisation was a real craft, like of course it is in jazz music, and we've kind of lost that. And I'm sure if Bach were alive today, once he heard the blues scale, he would be able to play some of the best jazz out there.
I would agree with you. I think it's amazing to think of what, composers of the Baroque era had, in their toolbox compared to what we currently have. I mean, just thinking about the instruments' limitations back then compared to what we have today. And speaking of just having memory and the ability to set, like at your organ at St. Paul's, you have how many levels of memory?
126 levels of memory.
So only 126 different organists could come and play with their own. Why don't you tell the folks how many we have here at Coriopolis?
Well, what I'm describing at home in our home church is a digital console, a console that has wiring so that it has a computer memory of all the stop combinations that you can possibly apply to the organ. This is a traditional instrument. It's exactly like the one I was raised on. It has one level of memory. It has 6 or more general pistons where you can set up maybe 6 or more combinations of sound, but you can't move to a new level and do the same thing and move to a new level. We have lots of, I think that's the trend anymore. And I think Brian's probably, in his tenure here, going to get a new console. If I'm not mistaken. Speaking
of, if you would like to donate to our Friends of Music Fund, which, I'm sorry, this is awkward. I'm trying to deal with the new material here while we film. Yes, we will be accepting donations for today's recital and for all of our Lenten recitals. Last week we had a fabulous cellist, Katia Jean Paladian. The week prior, we featured our men's chorus, the Robert E. Harper chorus. And then actually, Doug, you would be pleased to know that our first week we featured a buddy of yours, Rick Finkelstein.
Oh yeah, Rick, yeah.
Who came and played several pieces for us, ranging from classical to jazz, some sacred works. And so it was a really diverse concert series that we host. Next week, we are going to feature Robert Traeger, who is organist and choir master at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church in Wheeling. Have you got to meet Bob before?
I've met him before.
Fantastic. And why don't you just, before you play your final pieces, tell us a little bit about your serving time with the AGO as their dean. I like that phrasing. I think we'll keep it.
Yeah. I'm a member of the American Guild of Organists. I have been since the beginning of my career, and every portion of the country has a region, and most cities and communities have chapters. So in the Pittsburgh chapter of the American Guild of Organists, I served as dean 2 years ago, 2 years running, and now it's Chaz Bowers, who at the time was sub-dean and is now the dean of the AGO.
Fantastic. And I know that, I believe it was last week, you had planned on bringing in Mark Jacobs, or was that 2 weeks ago?
The Organ Artist Series, which is a component part of the AGO chapter, has a wonderful series of solo organists. And Paul Jacobs was ready to, and poised and ready to deliver his concert at the Westminster Presbyterian Church in the South Hills, and it had to be canceled. But he is tentatively rescheduling for Bach's birthday in July, or the anniversary of, can't be his birth, it must be his death. A very important all Bach concert there. So stay tuned. I think he's going to be back here in Pittsburgh.
Fantastic. And speaking of Bach, you've been playing all works of Bach today. You mentioned earlier in the week when I met to let you in to get to know the organ that you've only been playing Bach since Christmas.
I don't know why. Well, I've discovered why. I just was compelled to keep playing Bach, relearning old pieces, learning new ones, and I've just decided it's therapy for the troubling times we're in. It's therapy to be in contact, physical contact, and oral contact with a wonderful mind and a wonderful spirit, and you can feel that spirit pour through the music. It's just your responsibility as a performer to try to recapture that and represent it out.
Fantastic. What will you be playing for us next?
I have two pieces, and they're rather tranquil and rather slow. First of all, the piece that of the two, the final two, is in my favorite key. I love the key of F sharp. When you're conducting choirs, they just sing in tune in F sharp, and there's something that's beautiful about that key that is captured by an acoustician and musicologist. His name is Christian Schubart. He says this about the key of F sharp: "It's triumph over difficulty, free sigh of relief, uttered when hurdles are surmounted, echo of a soul which has fiercely struggled and finally conquered." I think that we're poised to capture that as we defeat this virus and come together once again as a community. So this is a piece called Have Mercy, Lord.
Beautiful. If you're just joining us, we have Dr. Douglas Starr at our console today, Coriopolis United Methodist Church, located at 1205 Ridge Avenue, Coriopolis. We are practicing our COVID-19 safe distancing here, but Doug, you have brought us much closer to the heart of God with this beautiful music, music that truly speaks to the soul, music by J.S. Bach. What is your final piece that you'll be sharing with us?
This is an organ transcription of a sinfonia of a Bach cantata. A sinfonia typically is like an opening orchestral piece of a cantata. And the name of the cantata is God's Time is Best, which is also a very relevant topic today. God's time is best, not ours, but God's time. It's very short and sweet.
All right, Doug, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Brian.
Is this the first virtual recital you've ever given?
This is the first virtual recital.
Well, we're thrilled to have you doing this with us today. This is actually our second virtual recital that we hosted. So if you're seeing the live button, there's a little red box. You can share this feed now only for about the next minute or so while we are finishing up. And if you tune in later and you do not see that live button, if you do not see that live button, that means you are watching the rebroadcast of this, and we would love to have as many people as possible like and share the video. Next week, we will welcome Bob Traeger, a fantastic organist from Wheeling, West Virginia, who serves at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for our Lenten Recital series. Doug, any closing thoughts you have for our folks watching at home?
Just everybody be healthy, be safe, and be happy. Listen to Bach.
Amen. Thank you once again, Doug. We are thrilled that you came to join us.
Thank you.